and I am interested in Captain Frank Hamer. I was wondering if there is any way to get in touch with Mrs. Hamer. I saw the movie Bonnie and Clyde. I must admit it was very good acting. Saturday, the 2nd of March, Mother took me down to the Star Telegram, and I saw the pictures of the real Bonnie and Clyde and read about all their cronies. When I saw the movie and the part where Captain Hamer spit on Bonnie, I felt I hated him. But when I read about all the people they killed and in cold blood, I felt differently towards Captain Hamer. My friends think the captain was so cold-hearted to kill Bonnie and Clyde because they were so much in love. I tell you, if Captain Hamer were alive, I would congratulate him on his actions. And since he is not, I must congratulate his wife instead.
Clyde Barrow was an absolute paranoid. And Bonnie Parker, if anything, was worse. They reveled in their killing. Clyde would, some of our interviews showed, if he saw someone walking down the street that even with his back turned, that looked suspicious, he'd grab for his gun and say, "That man's after me." If you can say that human beings can be animals, they were as close as you can come to it. The mythology that is grown up about them, I'm sure, can never be squelched, but the truth of the matter is that they didn't deserve it.
I saw the picture just so that I could know what it was about, and they just glorified crime and everything that they had done, made the young people think that it was just right to kill, that it was just all right. But they were real bandits, and they would kill you just with the blinking of an eye without even thinking. They were just terrible characters, both of them were.
And this delicate little thing here belonged to Bonnie Parker. It was tailored for Bonnie Parker. It was designed for her. Short-stop, easy to handle in a car, flip around in a hurry, out the window this way or this way. 20 gauge, semi-automatic Remington shotgun. There's not any question of what this gun here has killed some people, because the morning they killed the 2 highway patrolmen at Grapevine, the first shots were fired with this gun. And this was in her lap the morning they were killed in Louisiana. As a matter of fact, when the officers raised up and told them to throw up their hands, were peace officers, this gun came up over the windowsill, and that's what triggered the shooting.
In 1934, this was called a farm to Market Road. It's in Louisiana, near the little town of Gippsland. This area has changed little in 30-odd years. The taller pines were cut, but others have thrust their branches up to replace them. Here ended the last mile for public enemies Clyde Barrow and Bonnie Parker. There had been many deadly detours before this spring morning. Joplin, Texarkana, Logansport, Wichita Falls, cold-blooded murder in Grapevine, Hillsboro, Atoka, Oklahoma, bank robberies leaving behind murdered and maimed witnesses. For Captain Hamer, one of the nation's most famous lawmen, it meant the end of months of dogged tracking. Contrary to consequent newspaper and dramatized accounts, Hamer never saw Clyde or Bonnie until the moment he demanded their surrender.
And this gun belonged to my father. He had it, or ordered it special. It isn't a specially built gun because they made these guns for law enforcement officers at the Peace Officer Equipment Company in St. Joseph, Missouri. The only difference in this and a standard 35 Remington is that this 20-shot clip, it took off the old 5-shot clip, put on the 20-shot clip for law enforcement officers, because if they were engaged in a long pursuit in automobile, it was difficult to change clips and etc. So they equipped this gun with a 20-shot clip. And he got this gun for one purpose and one purpose only, and that was when he got on the trail of Clyde and Bonnie Parker.
Nobody knew them better. Relentless, methodical, he searched their deserted hideouts for every fragment of information, better to know their habits. No clue was too small for his study. He talked with anyone who had seen or had spoken to them. He knew their brands of whiskey and cigarettes. From their camps and target practice, he knew their guns and their ability to use them. Like the Barrow gang, he drove a Ford V8, and like Clyde and Bonnie, lived in the car most of the time. I wanted to know what they were thinking.
He began by doing detective work. He knew that in order to catch criminals as elusive and as cold-blooded as Bonnie and Clyde, that he had to learn just what they were made up of.
Well, naturally, I was just worried to death about him all the time, but I knew he was going to do it because that was his life and what he had, you know, he just was hired to do that. And I was scared to death about him, but he always said he'd be all right. That when anything happened to him, he'd be all right for me not to worry. But that's just useless to say things like that because a wife does worry if she cares anything about her husband.
What was the climate of the times that spawned Clyde and Bonnie? America in the early 30s was a hungry America. The stock market crash of 1929 had left millions stunned and jobless. Prolonged drought worked its havoc, and in an attempt to produce more grain for bread, the plows that broke the plain left a bowl of dust hundreds of miles wide. A depressed economy closed banks, sent many to bread lines,